Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to see the age of Shakespeare, the drama. So, great confusion in the English drama. So, when Gorboduc was produced, during that time, we could see a great confusion because during that time, drama was flourished. So, there are a lot of confusions. And then, um, Sackville and Norton's tragedy. So their tragedy had stood as an example. So the real artistic drama they lay through the faithful imitation of ancient models, and then they looked for exciting plots and vigorous action, and on the other hand they rejected altogether the decorous Senecan convention. Okay. um, and then the establishment of this romantic drama was the achievement of Shakespeare's immediate predecessors. And then when we talk about the principles of the classic drama, we can sum up into three heads. The first one, the unity of subject and tone. That is, the tragedy and comedy um, should be separate. That is, we shouldn't include any comic elements inside a tragedy, and we shouldn't include any tragic elements inside a comedy. If it is tragedy, then it should be a tragedy till the end, and if it is a comedy, then it should be a comedy till the end. And then there was little or no dramatic action, so the including the incidents taking place, composing the plot taking place of the stage. And then the three unities um, which we have seen in many of our earlier videos, that is unity of time, place and action. So the entire story should be confined to a single day and to a single scene, and it also should have only one single story only. It should not include any subplots or minor episodes. So this teachings so this practice was derived from the teachings of the great critic Aristotle, but only in the modern drama it came into existence only through the plays of the Latin poet Seneca. So the romantic Shakespearean drama, so they make a free use of variety in theme and tone. So they often blend comic and tragic elements, so which is nowadays known as tragic comedy. Okay, and then it also violates the three unities. So sometimes the story may exceed from single day to months or even years, and the scene may change from a town to another town or a country to another country if it is needed. And it can also include some subplots or minor episodes which should have a connection with the central subject. If it doesn't have any connection, we shouldn't include. Okay. Then we are going to talk about university wits. We all know that what are the university wits. Just I will say the names of those university wits. So the first one is John Lilly, next Thomas Kidd, George Peele, Thomas Lodge, Robert Greene, Christopher Marlowe, Thomas Nash. So when we talk about Lilly, he is known as author of a prose romance. So he had written a work titled Euphues, and some of his notable comedies are Campus, Endymion, and Galatea. Okay, and when we move on to Shakespeare, when we move on to Marlowe, he had written Chamberlain the Great, Dr. Faustus, the Jew of Malta, Edward II. And then he introduced blank verse. And then Shakespeare had written narrative poems titled Venus and Adonis. So it is his poem Venus and Adonis is inspired by Marlowe's Hero and Leander. And also it is said that lot of Shakespeare's works are inspired by the works of Marlowe. So some of the other examples are Richard the Third and Richard the Second are based on the model of chronicle play provided in Edward II. And it also said that the Merchant of Venice, when Shakespeare was writing The Merchant of Venice, he could have the Jew of Malta in his mind. It is just an assumption, but we are not sure of that. And then when we talk about Shakespeare's works in detail, Shakespeare's non-dramatic poetry, it consists of two narrative poems, that is Venus and Adonis and Lucrece. And also he had written 154 sonnets. In that, the first 126 is addressed to a man, and the remaining sonnets are addressed or referred to a woman. Okay, but it is a strange, there is some kind of strangeness in dedicating this. And then when we look into the writing career of Shakespeare, we can divide that writing career into four categories. So the first period begins from 1588 to 1593. So it was the early period. Okay, so in that just I'm going to give the name of the works which were written during that particular period. So during that period, he had written Love's Labour's Lost, The Two Gentlemen of Verona, The Comedy of Errors, A Midsummer Night's Dream, Marlowe, and Richard III. And then the second period, which begins from 1594 to 1600. In that period, he had written Richard II, King John, The Merchant of Venice, Henry IV, both Part 1 and Part 2, Henry V, The Taming of the Shrew, The Merry Wives of Windsor, Much Ado About Nothing, As You Like It, The Twelfth Night. Okay, his work became independent, so it need not to depend on any other works. And then when we come to the third period, that is from 1601 to 1608, only during this period he had written great tragedies. So his dramatic power, his intellectual power, his power of expression, so everything is at its highest peak. Okay, so he had written the plays titled Julius Caesar, Hamlet, All Is Well That Ends Well, Measure for Measure, Troilus and Cressida, Othello, King Lear, Macbeth, Antony and Cleopatra, Coriolanus, and Timon of Athens. And then the fourth period, which begins from 1608 to 1612, during this period he had written some of the later comedies or dramatic romances. But in this period we could find some sudden change in the writing style of Shakespeare's work, or in the temper of Shakespeare's work. Okay, so the plays he had written during this period are Cymbeline, The Tempest, The Winter's Tale, Pericles, Henry VIII. Okay, so we have seen the writing career of Shakespeare, and now we are moving on to the characteristics of Shakespeare's work. That is, how he had written. So what are the characteristic features of his works? So he was supreme, not only as a dramatist, but also as a poet to whom the worlds of high imaginative and delicate fancy were alike open. He possessed in a superlative degree. And then he is the most often quoted writer. So whenever we talk about some topic, definitely we will quote something which was said by Shakespeare. So he is the most often quoted writers among all the writers. And then when we compare Shakespeare and Milton, Shakespeare had computed up to some 15,000 words, but Milton had reached only the half of that number. Okay, and then though he had many skills, that is, though Shakespeare had many skills, he too had some demerits. So what are they? That is, he wrote in a hurried way, and his signs of hasty we could find in the writings of in his writings. And then his psychology will be hopelessly crude and unconvincing, and his style will be of vicious, and his tragic language will be of a bombastic one. Okay, so now we are moving on to the concluding part of this video. We will conclude this video with the minor dramatists during Shakespeare's age. So the minor dramatists' names are John Webster. So he was a dramatist of a somber genius. Okay, so he had written the works titled White Devil, and Duchess of Malfi. And then John Ford. So he had written a best work titled The Broken Heart. Next, Francis Beaumont and John Fletcher. So they had produced lots of works in combination. Okay, so they had written Philaster and The Maid's Tragedy. And then Philip Messenger. So he was a writer who is capable of writing in various styles. So he had written a comedy which has reached its higher level entitled A New Way to Pay Old Debts. And then James Shirley. So he belongs to the reign of Charles the First. So he was quoted by Charles Lamb as the last of a great race. So with this quote, we can come to a conclusion that a great race is going to end. Okay, and then Shakespeare's playhouses. There is nothing to say much in detail. During the time of Shakespeare, only the theaters were open. Only after a few years it had started to develop. We could see the Globe and the Friar Theatre during the time of Shakespeare. Initially, the performances were done only in the open yards or in inn. Later, they developed and um, they put they arranged some kind of stage, but it was an open stage, and later they developed like a theater. Nowadays we have a theater with multi facilities and all. Okay, so there is. And then one more point, during the time of Shakespeare, the female characters were replaced by male characters. Only after the restoration period, the female characters were allowed to perform on the stage. This is an important point which we can include when we talk about feminism and all. Okay, so with this we are going to conclude the video on the age of Shakespeare, the drama. Hope you all get what I'm saying. Okay, if you have any doubt you can ask me. So thank you for your patient listening. Thank you all.